Hello everyone, it's Logan here, and this episode is all about, yeah that's right, explosions. I am still trying to undertake getting to the moon and back in less than an hour. I've come close, I've not broken the hour barrier yet, but I figured I'd bring you this amazing set of explosions here that I found. That's one of the great things about Kerbal Space Program, but I've also noticed that my version of Kerbal Space Program has a bug that I really hope the devs will fix in the 1.0 update, which is user error causes the mission to end prematurely. As you can see here, although Jeb did survive there. And not that it's really a surprise, but rockets are surprisingly hard to fly when they're not symmetric. Yes, definitely need those parts there. Oh, well, that rocket's still hanging on there. Oh, no, now he bails. Yeah, no, wave goodbye. He's gone for good. This one was kind of neat, actually. Despite the spinning around and flipping out, I was actually able to land this one back on curb and land it safely. I was able to get it under control. I had enough thrust, bringing it back, slowly but surely. It's also really difficult to line up when you're supposed to start slowing down coming at the moon. This one I like to call death by reverse stoning, throwing yourself into the rocks. Some people call it litho braking, but you know, I know the math, but just not enough details of it to calculate exactly when I have to stop. So this one's actually one of my favorite rockets that I've ever built. It's basically just a bunch of solid rocket boosters, and man, does it ever get going fast. Very, very fast. Good thrust to weight ratio with all of them. Unfortunately, I had a massive rotational problem here that I could not correct, which actually makes it look quite nice until the instability sets in. I actually don't know why that happens. I think just not enough struts. Although I was actually able to land that one safely. Yeah, not sure how that happened. Yeah, I think more struts. Let's try that one again. And now too many struts? I don't know if that's a thing. Well, let's try it again. Well, at least we got an explosion out of that one. And of course, what trip to the moon would be complete without multiple uncontrollable landings? I think he's just trying to show off at this point. Unfortunately, he's not very good at it. I have to say these are some of my favorite crashes in Kerbal, though, because the ones that you just, no matter what you do, you just can't get it under control. Everything just goes wrong. One engine fires and not the other. Panic sets in, mistakes start happening. But of course, it's a sandbox game, so you can just redo it again, and I think that's why it's one of my favorites. Although I have to say, honestly, I think this ship might be my absolute favorite one that I've ever designed. My idea here was that I was not getting enough delta V overall, so I thought, well, what has the most delta V? Well, a bunch of turbojet engines. So, of course, in true Kerbal fashion, I strapped 132 of them to the bottom of the rocket and just let it go. And of course, losing stability there. So, redoing it, and here, regain stability, and it's actually going pretty well. I was really, really excited for this one. I thought this one might just be the one. Now, of course, this is running at about 10 times normal speed. This took forever. I have a beefy computer, and I was running 2 to 3 frames per second, if that. So many parts here. And of course 132 engines all running at once. Started to lose it there, but I actually didn't. I regained control. It started to go up, but as you'll see in a moment here, there's actually one major problem that I hadn't thought about when using jet engines, but at this point it seems to be going pretty well, and we're actually able to get all the way up to the useful height out of the jet engines, and we're simulating a decent amount of thrust here, about the same as one of the big Rockomax engines on each tank. So that's actually going pretty well. And fuel, of course, is looking perfect. So much so that I redid this several other times and actually reduced the amount of fuel in the tanks so that I can get more acceleration out of it, because we actually needed about 1/4 of that amount of fuel. Unfortunately, what I didn't think about, as you'll see here, is that jet engines have to spool down even if they're running out of fuel, which in this case they weren't. So when I released them, yeah, yeah, they just kind of took off. They actually were putting out more thrust than the engines below it. And this has to be one of my favorite explosions ever. This created, I think, the biggest debris cloud that I have ever made, probably rivaling most of them that have been made out there. 690 pieces floating around me. Absolutely massive cloud. I'm actually pretty impressed with myself there. Okay, so back to a much more traditional design here. Just a bunch of really heavy engines. Seems to be going pretty good. And actually, that is a fantastic show of aerial or aeronautic gymnastics there. And I think the only reason I restarted was just because it was not going to have enough delta V to get through it all. So here you can see the real speed that it was going. Very, very slow. And that was another thing that just kept happening, is no matter how many struts I would put on, pieces would just disconnect for no reason whatsoever. Just there it is, there's the staging. The staging was fine, and it would simply disconnect. So try it again, and yeah, exactly the same thing. However, I realized, okay, so even though we're lacking some delta V, we definitely won't set a record time. Might as well at least get some practice getting to the moon and landing on it, and with a suicide burn and getting back. Let's not let a little thing like staging error and lack of delta V stop us. So the only thing that could stop me now would be an uncontrollable spin. Yeah, I guess I get what I ask for, huh? Don't put your batteries on the outside. Creates a torque. And this one, I love how fast it spins. In fact, it's spinning so fast that the struts completely come apart. And a couple of them just decide, we want to go off this way now. And of course, the reason that happens is because of conservation of angular momentum. As the mass gets thrown out the back, the mass of the craft itself goes down. But the momentum has to be conserved, so now the mass is all concentrated towards the center. So it's just like if you're spinning around on ice skates and pull your hands in, now all the mass is concentrated inward. So the more mass goes away on the outside, the more it has to spin up faster on the inside. So I think we've entered into the struts giving out part of the show. Yeah. Reinforce everything. Of course, the more and more parts that you add, the harder it is for your computer to keep up. So you sacrifice speed for strength there. Okay, so here we go. We finally made it out to the moon. We think we're going to be okay. Commence litho braking. Yeah. Bye-bye. This has probably been the biggest challenge for me since I actually first started playing and had to figure out how to get to the moon. I mean, there I'm going far too slow. I slow down too much. Other times I'm going too fast, or not enough delta V, or just too heavy of a craft. You know, I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave some comments. How many of you are actually attempting this challenge? And, you know, is it as difficult for you as it is for me, or am I just overlooking something? But I think getting everything to work, there's so many things that have to go absolutely perfect to get this to work. I think that's the big part of the challenge. And just like here, you know, didn't start the suicide burn fast enough, so no matter what I do, I just don't have enough thrust, and violent litho brake. Yeah, I definitely did not start my burn early enough there. So going way too fast. Here I realize it. So acceleration to the max. Yeah, so incoming explosion. Yeah, oh, survived. Yeah. So, leave some comments. I think we got one more explosion here. Let me know what you like, what you dislike. If there's any other videos you'd like to see, any other challenges you'd like me to undertake. I do have another video coming up soon where I actually do get it in an hour, hopefully. And plenty more explosions in that video too. So, guys, like it if you like it, dislike if you dislike it, leave me comments, let me know. And of course, have a great day.